Hey there, RWBY fans! Welcome back to the RWBY After Show here on Rooster Teeth Reviews on AfterBuzz TV. This week, we are taking a look at Volume 6, Chapter 2, Uncovered. Now remember, everybody, there are no stupid questions, unless, of course, you only get 3 questions every 100 years. Stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Not gonna lie, I dig this new opening so much.
Amazing. Like I'm okay on the lyrics, but my God, the guitar riffs. That's the point where I'm just like, yes, I'm here, I'm in. Let's go.
I think it's like, in terms of the guitar stuff, it's like the most video game intro that RWBY has.
Yeah.
It really does. Like, it's that moment right before you go into a big battle. You are hyping yourselves up. It's a good time.
Not gonna lie.
It reminds me ever so slightly of the FF7 boss theme.
I was actually thinking more like Sonic Adventure 2 guitar riffs a little bit, but that's neither here nor there.
Live and learn.
Hey there, RWBY fans! Welcome back to the RWBY After Show here on AfterBuzz TV. I'm Megan Salinas, and let me go ahead and introduce my fantastic panel. To my left, Stacey Shuttleworth.
Hello, hello.
To her left, Katie Cullen.
Hi, all my buddies.
Sadly, Mark B. Donica could not join us tonight.
He was on the other half of the train.
Yeah, so we're like, he's on his way to Argus, guys. We'll catch up with him later. But in the meantime, please tweet him your well wishes because we love him and he's great. So let's do some housekeeping a little bit. We are going to be keeping an eye on the hashtag RT Reviews for all of you guys following along on Twitter. Katie's got y'all covered on the live chat, as does Stacey. So guys, yeah, we want to hear your thoughts on this week's episode. However, in accordance with Rooster Teeth's community guidelines, we are only discussing Chapter 2. Only discussing Chapter 2. Because, guys, Chapter 3 is for first members only, and we're adhering to their community guidelines. And also, just some people haven't had the chance to watch it. So, guys, do everybody a favor. No spoilers in the live chat. No spoilers in the hashtag. No spoilers in the comment section of this video after it's posted onto YouTube.
Mark is in the chat, even though everyone is pressing F to pay their respects for him because they think he's dead. So.
Oh, no!
Shrug. He's not even ginger.
He was grabbed by one of those Manticore Grimm.
Now he's gone.
And he was taken off screen. He's not dead. He was just taken far, far away.
We're writing him a very exciting adventure.
Yeah.
And we want to hear all about it next week, Mark, when you come back. So, yeah, guys, what do we think of this episode?
Man, it's been a while since I've just spent most of an episode going, what? And then the other half being very frustrated at certain people.
That ending, though, just this moment of, oh, you're going to stop there, aren't you? Oh, my God, you're going to stop there.
Yeah, it's definitely been one of the most cliffhanger-y endings that RWBY has done in a good long while. I really dug this episode. And, like, we've talked a lot about the pacing on this show in previous seasons. And I gotta say, kudos to the writing and the editing, because there are a lot of shows where, with as much jumping around as this episode did, I would have been completely lost, or it would have been really hard for me to pay attention. This episode kept me engaged the whole time, and like, it really flowed really well, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And especially it was, quite a feat because they were 2 very disjointed stories that we were taking part in. So for it to work so seamlessly.
And a flashback in there as well.
Exactly. So yeah, there was a lot going on, and I thought it all flowed together really perfectly. So yeah, before we dig too deep into the episode, we have a quick announcement for you guys.
As we stare blankly at it,
yes.
We're going to telegraph it into your brains because that's how we work.
That's the new thing,
now.
right? I thought that was the new thing.
We're gonna blink it to you in Morse code.
Give it a go. Hold on.
Give me a minute. I need to learn Morse code.
Wait. Shout out to our podcast listeners.
Hey, AfterBuzzers, our network produces after shows for nearly all your favorite TV shows. From dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more, there is no network that works harder to serve television fans. But we need your help. We're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channels, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz, there we go, continue to grow. And if you're worried about pesky notifications, don't be, because they're optional. However, if you enable them, it tells you exactly when we go live. So hit that subscribe button now for this channel and check out our other AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. Let us know you did so in the comments and we'll thank you on air. For now, thanks for being the best fans and for helping us be the ESPN of TV talk.
So I highly recommend checking out the AfterBuzz Sci-Fi channel, as there are a couple shows that yours truly happens to be on featured there. So go check that out.
Yeah, mostly zombies.
Zombies and superhero stuff. It's a good time for everybody.
Yep.
So let's get to it, guys. Cinder's not dead.
Cinder is
No
not
body,
dead.
no death, no body, no death, no body, no death. Pick up the phone.
And here it goes again, yeah. Yet again.
Now, I will say there was a part of me that was really genuinely hoping she was dead. However, the fact that she's alive but isolated brings up some interesting story potential. So, yeah, Stacey, what did you think seeing this character alive?
As satisfying as her final death would have been last season, I feel like there is a lot more story to tell with her. So I am kind of glad that she popped up. And I'm glad she kind of popped up so early so that we have an entire season to go forward with, events that will have clearly changed her perspective, and we'll probably be getting a different Cinder now. Or at least Cinder with a couple of different motivations.
Yeah, Please Clap pointed out something interesting I noticed. On the wanted board behind Cinder, it says the Battle of Haven was a month ago. Crow says it was 2 weeks ago, meaning Cinder's plotline is happening 2 weeks later. At what point did Crow say it was 2 weeks ago? Was that during the flashback this episode? Or
Yeah,
was that...
I think so.
So it might have been 2 weeks since then, because that flashback was when they were all still just chilling in the house, yeah?
It's
So who knows? Disparate timelines.
yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, because they were packing up during that flashback, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. But they were packing up to leave, so presumably that takes place probably maybe a couple hours before they left for the train station. So yeah.
They seem pretty excited to get out of that house, so maybe they packed a couple days in advance.
It's interesting though, thinking that Cinder's sort of situation is going to be very, like, if that timeline is that far apart, if we're talking about like a 2-week separation between what's happening with Team RWBY and what's happening with Cinder, then we're kind of doing what we did with Blake Belladonna last season, where all the stuff happening with the Faunus was taking place a month prior, because it was going to take a month for them to get to wherever the rest of the team was.
Yeah, everyone's saying that it was during the letter in the first episode that they mentioned 2 weeks.
That's right.
So
Okay.
okay.
So that would be when they're getting to the train station.
Or 2 weeks from when he wrote that letter.
He's like me. He has to mail something and he packs it up and just doesn't go to the post office for like 2 weeks.
He's had it ready, he just hasn't had the chance to get out the door, okay?
I mean, yeah.
That would be really funny if he took the time to write the letter and then like never actually took the time to go to the post office.
I mean, everyone who's ever won a prize from us that I was in charge of mailing, they know exactly what this is.
You're not wrong. Okay.
Yeah, I know. All right.
But
I
yeah.
just admitted to it.
But yeah, Katie, seeing Cinder again, what were your initial thoughts?
That was not a secure cave. Like, this is where I've kept the relic. It's a secure location. There's a hole at the bottom that anyone who is half dead can evidently punch through.
She is very strong in her defense.
She does have a grim arm, and God knows what that's capable of, but still, that is not a secure location. Ozpin, why? Why?
Well, and clearly it's somewhere within close walking distance of the population if someone just randomly stumbled onto her.
Now, is Ozpin to blame for this, or is Lionheart to blame for this because of poor
6 of
maintenance?
one, half a dozen of the other.
It's so funny. Like, yeah, they still needed the Spring Maiden, but it's kind of funny. Like Lionheart's cooperation wasn't required. They could have just dug a hole.
I mean,
Burst right
I
through.
feel like it's also possible that no one bothered to take the long walk off the short bridge up there and see if there was anything at the bottom.
It should be fine.
It's a bottomless pit. Those don't actually exist, Oz. It's a bottomless
No.
pit.
Don't be ridiculous. It's gonna be fine.
He only has himself to blame for literally everything.
I mean, that's kind of Oz in a nutshell.
Yeah. I felt so bad for this random bystander who just happened to be walking by.
This poor compassionate lady. She's the Good Samaritan, and she got shanked for her troubles.
And again, they're a very direct. She had groceries with her, so presumably it wasn't that far from a marketplace or a farmer's market.
Right, she was not wandering in the middle of nowhere. She was just walking home.
Haven't you seen the middle of nowhere farmer's market?
Oh, of course.
It's got the best produce.
I think you just found our next segment for Welcome to Vale.
The middle of nowhere farmer's market. Write it down.
The idea that there's a marketplace like literally within walking distance of this very ill-fortified entrance where the Spring Maiden Chambers was. Oh my God, it is great. Anyway, I'm getting getting way too fixated on how easy it was for her to escape. But yeah, I felt so bad for this poor girl. But yeah, we see who the cloaked figure was in the intro of this season, and it turned out to be Cinder. And I will say I was a little disappointed that it wasn't Neo.
The misdirect.
It was a brilliant misdirect.
It was.
But here's the thing, and we talked about this a little bit last week, but last season's opening, everything that was in the opening happened. Even the stuff where we were like, oh, that's a metaphor, whatever. No, it all happened. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. At this point, we stare at this opening, and about 60% of what's in it has already happened in the first 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm. We are seeing a lot.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It also makes sense to be like, here's all our big grim fights and whatnot. They were all in the first episode, so now we don't have to worry about spoilers from the opening.
Done.
Except for angry cave arms. I'm worried about those.
Yeah.
A little bit.
We'll see. We'll get to it. But Cinder goes on a little bit of a journey, and she sees that like her compatriots are now wanted figures because good job, cops. Actually,
Yeah.
Way to go.
We don't say that often for this show, but law enforcement.
Yeah, and probably also like members of the White Fang who realized that Adam Torres is not worth following. That they probably gave all the information they could about the people who were attacking the school. Mm-hmm. So that means Cinder has to keep a super low profile, which is probably hard to do when you have a grim appendage.
Well, and I'm sure that our main cast was also interviewed by the police because they were literally there.
Yeah.
So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they would have the names too, specifically.
Yeah, and it was them giving the official statement as to what happened to Lionheart and everything. So
yeah,
it makes sense.
Although for Cinder's grim appendage, I do like that in the later scene that we see her in, she's got it wrapped.
Yeah.
So all right, that's smart. You can't do the Stretch Armstrong thing with that, but smart.
Probably good for being in the town setting.
Again, trying to keep a low profile. But she is no less intent. It's funny because her aim isn't to meet up with the rest of her compatriots. Her aim is to follow Team RWBY. And I guess you could make the argument that if I just follow Team RWBY, eventually I'll meet up with the rest of my cohorts. But she goes to a sort of seedy bar that seems to be the sort of headquarters for a gang that they all have these spider tattoos, and this is where we meet Lil Miss Malachite.
I love her. She said 3 things and I fell in love with her. Oh my God. I'm Little Miss gonna skin you alive if you take that tone with me again. I'm like, yes!
Someone to go toe to toe with Cinder, let's do it!
Yes!
Now
I love this crime boss. Oh my God. And then her bodyguards had awesome designs. These people are essentially NPCs. And I'm like, I want both of your stories. Tell me your stories. You look interesting. And that's what a good character design does.
We've come a long way from Shadow People.
We really sure have. Now we have shadow arms under a bridge or in a cave or whatever that was. This is just going to be
Shout out to the podcast listeners.
Just a shout out to the podcast listeners.
Yeah,
at the moment.
It's fine.
So, Stacey, I don't know about...
it is a legion of spiders.
Just out of curiosity, what do you think of when you hear Little Miss Muffet? Did you think crime lord?
No, but I love it. Honestly, now that someone has made that connection, it's like, yes, this is a great direction to go with Little Miss Muffet.
When I realized that it was Little Miss Muffet, I sat there and all of a sudden Undertale's Spider Dance started playing in my head. And I just thought to myself, I was like, that's two interpretations of this character where she's basically like extorting people for money.
So maybe that's a more common like direction to go with her than
I love the notion of Little Miss Muffet. You know, the whole point of that rhyme is she was scared by a spider and ran away. I love the notion of like modern interpretations of just that little couple line nursery rhyme merging together Little Miss Muffet and the spider. Like the two of those things being intertwined, I think is such a cool modern take on, you know, it's that modern thing of like, let's take this seemingly innocent nursery rhyme and like twist it into something dark. And I love that, like, that's what modern storytellers are doing with Little Miss Muffet.
Well, then paragraph in chat says, as I said earlier, she learned to tough it out. I love you.
Beautiful.
You're currently my favorite person in chat. I love you.
Stacey, you were going to say something.
It's not going to follow that up very well. No, I don't know if I could follow that up. That was beautiful. But
Chat does good things.
as far as how we twist fairy tales nowadays, it also kind of shows how we as a modern society approach fear and deal with being afraid of something.
Yeah.
And this was an interesting take on what you do with your fears.
I do love let me guess, you learned to kill spiders. No, we need spiders. I just made them work for me. And I'm like, you're like better Widowmaker.
I feel alive.
Now that's a new
I
comparison.
was like,
Better Widowmaker.
she pulled a Batman. She's like, this is the thing that I fear. I shall choose to make it a part of who I am, to strike fear into the hearts of others. Only, you know, less justicey.
Although I feel like you'd survive an encounter with a giant bat better than you would survive an encounter with a giant spider. Generally speaking, and depending on your interpretation of Batman. I definitely grew up on the Schumacher version.
We haven't seen
No, don't go there.
Bat or Spider Grimm just yet.
We have seen Scorpion Grimm, so arachnids are a thing.
Look, I don't want a spider grim.
I would just be like, but it would be a great design.
Oh, it would be.
Miles Carey, I know what I want for Christmas. Could you imagine a Spider Grimm?
Centaurish Spider Grimm?
Oh gosh, like more insects, like
you have half a person and then a very large half a spider.
Well,
oh no.
What's sort of
nightmares?
What's sort of interesting about this whole development is basically, you know, Cinder goes to Little Miss Malachite and her gang to see what information they can find on Team RWBY and Team RWBY's whereabouts. And, you know, she takes her leave and we find out that Hazel, presumably, has already been to Little Miss Malachite. And her gang happens to know already where Team RWBY is.
Well, yeah, it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, and that means that potentially Hazel, Little Miss Muffet's entire gang, and Adam, if he what really was that shadowy figure in the cloak, that means that all of these people are following and or know exactly where Team RWBY is right now.
I mean, they don't exactly keep a low profile. Nobody in this show keeps a low profile if you know what you're looking for. No one blends in. They've got protagonist written all over them.
Let me just
every single
carry
one of them.
This ancient sacred relic that attracts the creatures of Grimm. Let me just tie it
Carry
to my
that
belt.
on my hip.
This
let's
is
do
just
it.
an accessory, okay?
Like, can no one put this in a bag?
Well,
that would not be extra enough for them.
Oh, that's true.
And
Now-
you know they have to flaunt it.
That's true.
I do want to ask the question before we move on to the real bulk of this episode. I do want to ask the question, since Cinder is sticking around and since we know that she's dealing with the sort of criminal underground, because we've seen Torchwick's bowler in the opening, does that mean that because we're dealing with the underground and criminals again, that we're going to sort of be dealing with sort of his legacy in this season? either from a family member, a former associate, or maybe even Neo.
I wouldn't be surprised. I also wouldn't be surprised if he survived. Do we have a "where is my goddamn shoe" moment?
If he just pops up. Yeah. I'm holding out for that one because I would love Torchwick to pop back up.
Oh, I'm not actually expecting it to happen, but I would say that there is wiggle room for it because he got swallowed all at once instead of, like, being torn into pieces. Or shot in the chest. I mean,
I
we're gonna go for the gamut of heartbreaking deaths.
Fine.
He's the one that's the most survivable out of all of them.
They're there.
Also, chat is losing their minds about Spider-Grim, half for and half against. I did appreciate the comment, "I am the night, I am the spiders."
That's pretty
The
spectacular.
person putting radioactive Spider-Grim to the Spider-Man theme song.
Spider-Grim does
Radioactive Spider-Grim. I love you all.
That just makes it worse.
does whatever Spider-Grim do. All right. Before
Killed a
we
man once or twice. Strings him up just like flies.
look out,
Oh no!
here comes the Spider-Grim. All right. On that literal note, before we dig into the rest of the episode, I want to talk to you guys really quickly about iTunes. Folks, thank you so much to everybody who's gone to iTunes to rate, subscribe, leave a comment. We love hearing from you. It is the best way to let our producers know that you guys like the show that we're putting on, and that just brighten up our day. And we like giving shout outs to people who leave comments, and we have a few of them for you today.
By a few, we mean one.
Yes, one few.
Single. By Viva Mort V. RWBY After Show continues to deliver. 5 stars. I love this after show so much. I can feel the love of this show, and I can't wait to hear what the panelists have to say. Well, that is why we're here.
Indeed.
You ever wonder why we're here? Yeah, no, that's it. Also, wrong show.
So we really appreciate you guys. It means a lot to us. And we know we have an international audience as well. We can't see those, but they do very much still count. So if you guys leave a comment in your country's respective iTunes stores, we want to see it. So take a screen cap out of it and put it in the hashtag RT Reviews so we can give you your shout out. We love you all. You're all the best. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Okay, so we get this flashback to where they're packing up and they realize that, you know, that going to Argus is the best option if they have to go back to Atlas. And poor Weiss, this is like the moment they break it to the news to her that she has to go back to Atlas, and she's like, "Are you for real?"
I love all of them slowly looking at her and just the silence while she registers what's going on.
She just,
Are you kidding me? I could have just stayed there.
Like, you mean you would have showed up at my doorstep eventually?
Saved myself a kidnapping and an impalement.
Do you have any idea what I've been through? Well, yeah, about 60% of it.
There were wasp grim. There was a plane crash. I got kicked in the face. I got stabbed. I got put in a cage. It was bad all the way around. Not good times. Oh yeah, and I don't get to be an heiress anymore.
And also, I don't want to see my family again, so thanks.
I do love like the sort of playful banter that we get here of like, hey, you know, if there's a reward, we should totally make good on it. And it's like, oh, I've missed these girls all being together.
Yep.
Oh, it warms my heart. And I think it warms Weiss's too. Aw. Yep. So, but yeah, we finally get an answer in this flashback as to what the relic actually does. You get to ask it 3 questions, and it will provide an answer. I love that Ozpin didn't qualify the quality of those answers.
It'll say some things.
I mean, it can't predict the future, and it might give you an answer you don't want, but yeah.
It will provide an answer. A truthful answer? We don't know.
That was not specified.
He just said an answer.
I mean, I think the idea is that, yes, it provides a truthful answer.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the thing is with Ozpin, I started like combing through, like subconsciously combing through his words to look for legal wiggle room.
I feel like at this point it's worth a series rewatch just to be like, all right, take a shot every time he lies.
Take a shot every time he says something ambiguous enough to be a half truth.
Yep,
Just make sure that it's drunk Disney shots that are like half an ounce so you don't die by the time you hit the 3rd volume.
For sure. I think my favorite thing about this whole sequence, though, was Nora's reaction to finding out what the relic does. Can we ask for more questions?
They're not wishes.
Now, so if you guys happen to have a relic that could answer any question you pose to it, what would you ask?
Nope. Just no.
I know. I feel like I've learned better than this as a child.
Do you want the truth? You can't handle the truth. Bye.
So if you were given a magical artifact that said, hey, anything you want to know, you can ask right here, your reaction would be to, LOL, nope.
So honestly, I'd probably
kind of.
ask it to like tell me the truth about like the life of Shakespeare or something ridiculous like that.
Something that's never been confirmed.
Yes.
Something where it's like, this is a mystery. Like, so how was Stonehenge actually built? Or seriously,
Exactly.
where did the Easter Island heads come from?
Like, tell me the exact process they used to build the pyramids. Like,
Yes,
what was
yeah.
this architecture? That would be the kind of thing I would
stuff
want
that's
the history
been lost
of.
to time.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Ooh,
That's nice.
I like that a lot.
How many books of the Bible were there really? What are we missing?
Yep.
How did King Tut actually die? Ooh, was it foul
Yes.
play?
I know. How much history of one place can I get? Like, how much detail
What was
will you give
Agatha
me?
Christie doing those couple of days when she went missing?
Yeah.
See, there are a lot of things that I wonder
Who
about.
is Jack the Ripper?
Oh, yes!
I feel like the murderino and you just had an epiphany.
That's what I would ask. Who is Jack the Ripper?
You could use it to solve unsolved crimes.
So many unsolved crimes.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Only three unsolved
every
crimes.
100 years. But I feel like no, this would be great. Though this would just be great. Like, you know, there's all this. Oh no, the knowledge of the world. Like, now there's a ton of historical stuff that's still big question marks.
Well,
like, let's fill that in. Let's fill that
We
in.
still don't know the drawbacks. But yeah, we
I think the drawback is knowing.
Yeah, probably. But we jump back to the present, where Blake seems to be complaining that they have a sort of hanger-on. Does somebody have in the chat have something to say?
I mean, it's just Stoic the Dragon Eater saying, will I really find love? No, that's predicting the future, dear. That doesn't apply.
What's my horoscope? Oh my gosh. What's my horoscope say? Oh, sweetheart, there's no meaning in the stars. Next question.
Just this poor shattered like person. Lydia Cerveros says, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Yes.
See, these are the important questions.
Where's Waldo?
Does
what we
God
need to
really
know.
exist? Wow. That's a thing. Tell me the entire contents of the Library of Alexandria. Okay.
That would be another one.
Okay. So for those of you listening later, or for those of you who just want to keep this for later, we want your questions for the relic in the comments of this
Absolutely.
episode.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We want that.
These need to be preserved.
Or in the hashtag, and the hashtag is RT Reviews for those of you
Definitely.
who missed the first 5 minutes.
Definitely do that.
Please.
Do 'em. I need it.
So yeah, Yang seems to be complaining about the new hanger-on that they have. Maria, I love her, but it seems like she's hard of hearing, and she's like, and also I'm blind. With if this apparatus on my face isn't properly functioning, which
And
means
it needs repair.
and so, yeah, I'm definitely doubling down on the fan theory that, like, she had silver eyes and that she no longer does.
I think we're going in the right direction with that one.
Yeah, probably. But I do kind of love that she gets all indignant at Yang calling her a defenseless old lady and then goes, oh, yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
Just like, right, I
Right.
get you. I get you.
I think that was the moment that really endeared her to me. I was like, oh, yeah.
She got
like
it.
you.
She got it.
And so, yeah, they start questioning Ozpin because it's like, hey, dude, like, what's the deal? You said you weren't going to lie to us anymore. And he sort of, again, he defends himself or tries to deflect, like, hey, guys, now's not the time. And they stand their ground, which I really appreciated because, guys, we're in volume 6. It's time for some answers.
Yes.
And
Good Lord.
and so I really appreciated that they're not taking no for an answer. And this is when he snaps at them like, hey, do you guys think Lee Yu-Gi-Oh has been the only person to betray me. And I think that takes them off guard a little bit.
Well, we've always seen Ozpin as this sort of sage character. He has all the answers. He knows what he's doing. And we're finally starting to see that unravel. And I love that. And Becca Lee in chat has a theory about Maria. She's the wolf disguised as grandma.
Oh! What big eyes you have!
Dude. Dude.
I love that. Oh, snap. That's beautiful.
About that. Yeah.
Oh, poor Ruby. Oh, no.
Yeah, we still don't know what happened to Ruby's mom. Like, that hasn't been answered to us, the audience.
So, yeah, I guess the thing is if we had the relic, what questions about Ruby would we ask? And I think the main one is, what does it mean to have silver eyes?
Yeah.
But that's sort of where we're left with is Ozpin realizes that he doesn't happen to have the relic on him. It happens to be in Ruby's hands, which the way he reacts in this moment really took me, like, really kind of confused me a little bit, because it's like, this is the relic that's being held in the hands of who he referred to as an honest soul. And so I guess it's this honest soul that he wanted to protect the truth from. For some reason.
Protect the truth from?
I don't know. Or keep the truth from. I don't know. Maybe.
I feel like there's a Jack Sparrow speech here about a dishonest man you can always trust to be dishonest, but you can never...
It's the honest man, or like, yeah, it's the honest man.
You can never trust because you never know when they're going to do something completely stupid.
Oh, yeah. That may very well be an applicable quote. But this is when Oscar wins MVP, I think, of the episode. Because we sort of, again, double down on Ozpin being a liar, and we realize in this moment when Oscar sort of takes control again, that there's a darker truth that he's trying desperately to keep hidden from all of them. And knowing how deeply Ozpin has lied to our boys and girls, guys, I think it's time for our new segment.
Yeah.
Yeah. A new segment here that we're sort of borrowing from the Attack on Titan after show. So, guys, it's time for our new segment.
Break their legs!
Yup.
Borrowing from Nora Valkyrie, who again, she has certain solutions to certain problems. Ozpin being a liar, and guys, we don't know what sort of truth he's keeping from them, but it's presumably very, very dangerous. So I want to ask the panel, should we break his legs for this?
My only issue with this is that they are also Oscar's legs, and Oscar is currently best boy. So if we could find a way to, like, metaphysically do it without harming Oscar, hell yeah.
Stacey?
This is a really good point. Most of this is coming to light because Oscar could break free like that, and, like, we don't want to hurt him. But Ozpin,
I mean,
dare he?
like, in a minute, I want to talk about Oscar, but first, I want you to answer your own question.
I'm going to say yes. You can... his aura will fix it. The real problem is like, I would say yes if Jean was still with the party, because Jean could fix it.
This is true.
This
is true.
But with Jean being on the other part of the train, on their way to Argus, no. But yeah, if we could somehow metaphysically break Ozpin's legs, that would be super.
We're gonna bring Ozpin's soul some suffering.
Yeah.
That's what he
Now,
needs in some way or
again,
another.
comments below whether or not you think Ozpin deserves to have his legs broken for being a liar, pants on fire.
Even if it's just metaphysically and not physically breaking Oscar's legs, because Oscar doesn't deserve that.
No.
Oscar is our MVP.
As you said, best boy, MVP.
I want to talk about
duality.
Oscar for a little bit. Previous season, it was him getting used to this insane turn that his life has taken and kind of been like, okay, and living with Ozpin. And even just these two episodes, the previous episode in the middle of the train crisis, it was, no, I'm staying in control. And this one, we're realizing that the Yu-Gi-Oh! Bond goes both ways. And it's, man, we need answers. And he goes, you know what? You're right. Get your ass out here. Like, yeah, I'm sure this is a whole lot of things that Oz did not want and was probably not expecting, but Oscar is extremely strong-willed. and I love it.
He's
Best
definitely
boy.
pro tag material. Shonen pro tag material.
Best boy.
Right. I think it was, well, it's been interesting, and especially the way he kind of broke free towards the end of this episode to deliver that warning. So is it that the bond is getting stronger and he's starting to discover more and more about Ozpin and his memories and his past and what he knows or what he does not know? Or has he just been kind of kept, even when he is in control, kept in this kind of complacent state to where he couldn't actually spill any of these secrets?
Yeah, that's a great question.
I wonder if he doesn't know them because Oz wasn't thinking about them at the time.
Yes.
I guess, yeah, that could have very well have been, because, like, the second Ozpin sees Ruby holding the relic, that's when Oz is like, oh, I gotta get it away from her, and that's when Oscar is like, oh, no.
Like, hang on. And I think what we saw this episode was the first time that both of them have been in direct competition for control.
Yeah.
It turns out it's a stalemate.
Yeah. I mean, and it was brought about from a really intense outburst of emotion. So maybe that's maybe it takes like a really intense emotion to bring those thoughts to the forefront of Oz's mind before Oscar picks up on it or, figures it out.
Yeah, and again, we don't know the rules of this connection. We're figuring it out at about the same time that Oscar is.
And he manages to not only tell them, not only warn them, but tell them how to activate the relic. It's by summoning the being within it, Jinn. I gotta tell you, I got like a super Legend of Zelda Great Fairy vibe from her appearing.
I will say my first reaction was, oh, God damn it, they made a naked lady. Why did they do that? The character design is beautiful. It's also a naked lady.
Yeah, there's,
come on, guys.
There's some potentially problematic elements of, this sort of interpretation of the character, especially like when you look at like the character's design and what it's clearly drawing inspiration from, you're like, is problematic, question mark? And I'm not the person to have that conversation, to be honest. I'm not as knowledgeable, I think, when it comes to that sort of level of cultural appropriation,
I mean, when we were first watching it, you mentioned, oh yeah, it's kind of like the Great Fairy from Ocarina of Time. Like, yeah, on one hand, I get that. On the other hand, she had specifically placed Ivy and Leotard to make it very clear that she wasn't nude. So, but this was just kind of like,
okay. Hey, like I said, potentially problematic.
Please clap says this is why RWBY isn't on YouTube anymore.
I mean, maybe. More mature
They'll
this
get
season.
demonetized.
More mature this season. Yeah. So, but like the potentially problematic aspects aside, I do think this is a beautiful character design. And as Ozpin sort of brought up that there were potential drawbacks, I think that this being who was created by the god of light, as she says, to guide mankind, I'm very interested to see if the relic, that's meant to bring knowledge, if indeed this is somebody that can be trusted. She might tell the truth, but can she be trusted?
Where do her loyalties lie?
She's supposed
Probably to her job.
She's supposed to aid mankind, again, assuming she's on the level. I do love how dismissive she was of Ozpin, though. Like, when he goes, that's enough, and she's like, two questions.
She just continues her sentence.
2 questions.
Like, look, you're not stopping me.
Don't interrupt me.
Just because you're the only person I've ever just because I've talked to you before doesn't mean that no one else gets a chance.
Yeah, no free passes for us.
People!
It was a very clear power, like, you don't own me.
Yeah.
You are a mortal man. I'm awesome.
And it's so interesting because Oz, he pulls rank like that often.
Yeah.
And no one really challenges him on it until this episode, and especially until Jinn, where she's like, no.
It was such a, you're beneath me. Don't interrupt again.
It's just like, excuse. I have a job, and you're not part of it.
Also, hi. Good to see you. Oh my God, it's been so long.
She's hysterical, and I love her, like, a lot.
She was very enthusiastic.
And I saw on Twitter a while back, and then people are also pointing it out in chat, the statue that was the doorway to where the relic was of her.
I did not know.
I did not realize. Okay, I'm gonna have to go back and watch the end of last volume again. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, that's exciting. And so RWBY gets to ask a question, and I like this moment too because Crow doesn't challenge her on it. I'm wondering because there were a couple moments this episode where Crow kind of gives Ozpin kind of an odd look because you get it's subtle, but you get the indication that he had no idea what the relic did either. And that all of this is news to him.
I think it is. I think that he's been mostly in the dark. He's been told, don't ask questions, just do what I say. And he has up until this point.
Because the one bit he gets to speak up in this episode, he goes, do whatever you think is right.
Well, he just watched Oz get caught out in a lie.
Yeah.
Like,
And,
I
you know.
used all of them before it got sealed away. Now I got 2 more questions.
And he was facing, 3 weapons pointed at him.
Yeah.
So,
Honestly, I think he would have said that even
I think so,
if
too.
her teammates hadn't jumped to defend RWBY. But I do love, the second he made a move, they were all on him.
there was a clear divide starting to, to form.
But it looks like next week's going to be story time because the question that RWBY asks is, what is Ozpin hiding? And Ozpin's hiding Salem's origin story. What the heck, guys?
I do love that we got all of them going essentially into this white oblivion and hearing them calling out for each other. And it's like, all right, so who's calling for who in what order? That's some fun little character stuff.
I loved that. I was like, oh, writers know what they're doing.
Yeah, they do. We see you there.
I also love the idea of Maria because, each of them is shown in this kind of weird, ghostly realm, isolated from one another. I love the idea of Maria just being like, what? Okay.
This is where we are.
She did just stumble into this sort of situation. That would be a heck of a, I just met up with these people on a train and now there's a naked lady who's showing us some stuff that happened thousands of years ago. I don't know what's going on.
This is a fascinating story. What the hell?
Yeah, and she really is just someone who has stumbled onto
I was
this
just
journey.
going to visit my granddaughter. Where am I? Well, guys, we are running short on time, so I think we're going to table predictions this week. But yeah, we want to know what you guys thought of this week's episode in the comments section below. Again, don't forget to tell us what questions you would ask. So, Katie, where can people go if they want to find you?
You can follow me all over the social medias as well as on YouTube and Twitch at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. If you like seeing reactions to these episodes, they live on that YouTube channel, as does my Overwatch podcast, On The Point.
Guys, I'm Stacey Shuttleworth. You can find me all over the web at Stacey Shuttles. You can also find me over at Twitch TV at Inventory Full PT, where I'm part of a team with Mark himself, our usual fourth. I'm going to shout out Mark.
The internet's
Mark B. Donica. So check out our gaming news and podcasts and games that we play on Twitch.
And you can follow Mark at Mark B. Donica on Twitter. And guys, be sure to follow the whole team at the Rooster Team. Be sure to check out our TeePublic store. There's a big sale going on right now, and I'm sure there's going to be lots of sales coming up for Black Friday. And I'm Megan Salinas. You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin. I also do a Lost retrospective podcast called No Love Lost. You guys can listen to me there. Follow that on No Love Lost Pod on the social medias. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you all next week.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.